I enrolled into the program and I completed 1 year. But unfortunately, just soon after that, the war between Russia and Ukraine started, and I had to leave.
This video will be of a different format. Here, I'm going to speak to an IMG, Dr. Nate Sharif from Russia, who is now planning on moving to the United States. So with this consent, we have his video right here, so you can benefit from our conversation and the experience. Stay tuned. So what can I help you with, Nate, and how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. So I'm a foreign medical graduate. I graduated from medical school, and after that, I did my internship in the Republic of Botswana. After that, I got into residency program in Russia, the same university that I graduated from. I completed my residency program and I started working as an anesthesiologist in a pediatric hospital. And then after that, I decided to write the entrance exams for the PhD program, which is a 3-year program. I enrolled into the program and I completed 1 year. But unfortunately, just soon after that, the war between Russia and Ukraine started, and for a couple of reasons, I had to leave.
So right now, are you in the US?
Yes, right now I'm in Miami.
And what visa are you on in the US?
I've read about the USMLE exams that have to be taken, but then I also came across an interesting video which I watched, and it was mentioned that you correct me if I'm mistaken. So it's either you pass the USMLE exams, you enroll into the residency program as usual, or you find a hospital that's willing to employ you, and from there the hospital will assist you to receive a visa, which is a work, if I'm not mistaken, work visa. And at the same time, you prepare for the USMLE exams, and you have a secured job.
Well, it's partly correct. So there are various routes you can take. So one is the traditional route, which is you finish your USMLE and subsequently you apply for residency matching, which is through the NRMP match, and then you get into an anesthesiology residency. So that's option one. So that's going to cost you some money because now you have to invest in USMLE,
Yeah.
right? The other option is because you've already done residency in anesthesiology, and have you done a fellowship in pediatric anesthesia, or were you just working in a pediatric hospital?
No. So in Russia, Russia has the two-tier system. So the residency program for anesthesiology usually is 2 years. After that, if you decide to enroll into the PhD program, which is a 3-year program, it is somehow considered as a fellowship.
Okay, I get it. You haven't done your USMLE, right?
No, not yet. No.
Okay, so without USMLE, unfortunately, you do not have the option of doing a clinical fellowship because for a clinical fellowship, it's a must that you have USMLE. Sure, there are some exceptions, but for you being a new graduate, I think your safest bet would be to do USMLE. Now, the thing is, you need to accumulate some cash and be on a job so you can successfully do your USMLE. So, for that, one option I can think of is you join as a research fellow. So, the question to you is do you have any research experience?
Well, for the 1 year that I completed in Russia, I was busy with my thesis that is related to separate single one lung ventilation in pediatric patients. So it's combined one lung ventilation in pediatric patients that are undergoing thoracic surgery. But as I mentioned, unfortunately, because shortly after the war, I had to stop everything. Everything came to a stop. But yeah, I started with my thesis and I started with the research and my articles. But it just came to a stop.
Have you been to any?
Well, I have, and I have written to the hospitals multiple times. The response that I got from hospitals, not only pertaining to the research, but also to volunteer work. Apparently, after the COVID, such programs have been closed.
Okay. So how many hospitals did you reach out to?
So it was 5 hospitals.
Oh, you did reach out to pretty much most hospitals.
Yes, I chose basically the bigger hospitals, and from what I gathered from people who have been living here, that's how I chose just the five.
Okay.
I've
Well,
also I've written. Sorry to interrupt you. I've written to smaller clinics, research clinics. I just came across them. I just happened to see it when I was walking by, but no response from that also.
I see. Okay. And did you specifically go to the department?
No, I did not because the person who was in charge was not available till then.
Okay. So I'm just taking a look at your CV to see your qualifications. Dr. Nate, I think your CV needs some work. Okay. So what you have is really nicely included bold fonts, colored fonts, but it's looks a lot more professional if you actually don't have any fancy fonts.
Mhm.
So just keep it plain and simple. Let it be boring. Boring goes a long way when it comes to a professional look. And then it always looks good when it runs from one corner to the other corner as opposed to breaking them into columns like a
Mhm.
book chapter. So the CV actually reads in a straight line. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that before I forget about your CV. So the options to you, what I'm thinking is you actually go back to those hospitals and try to speak to the. Before that, you can even go to their hospital website and see who is involved heavily in research. You can figure it out from the hospital websites and just look at the names of faculty who are involved in research. So start with because that's where you seem to have more interest. And then you can generally move to other subspecialties of anesthesia. If you cannot find anyone in anesthesia, it is still okay to venture into other specialties like surgeries. You could even go to places like pharmacology. You can just think out of the box. So, how long are you here in the US?
So it's 6 months now here.
So you can make use of this time to meet as many folks as possible.
Mhm.
Send them your CV, your letter of intent as to why you want to be involved as a research fellow. So, bottom line, you should get a paid job as a research fellow because that's going to do two things for you. So, one is that's going to give you some funding, so you can use that to write USMLE. And number two, it's going to make you connections. And also,
True.
there is the third thing, it can build your CV if you're able to publish some papers. Because, bottom line, right now you need money, you need publications, you need connections. And then, once you are able to secure a job, visa is usually not a problem. You can get a J1 visa. It's unlikely they would be giving you an H1B coming on a research fellow without USMLE. But you would be able to secure a J1 visa, which is a good starting visa, and then based on that, you can continue your next steps about finishing your USMLE and applying for matching and things like that. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it does make sense.
Yeah.
I think I will explore those options, and I think it would be wise if I look in other states. Probably the chances would also be better. I'm not too sure, but I'm also considering other states to see what kind of research programs are ongoing, and probably just also write to a couple of hospitals in other states.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the mistakes people do is they just focus on one or two programs. So you're absolutely right in focusing on not only other programs, but also other states. And because from your perspective, is there a reason you picked?
Not no, not a specific reason.
Okay, so in that case, you're flexible to move anywhere in the US. You know what? Let me tell you whom to apply to. There is a hospital called. Take a look at the website of and then send them a personal statement, an email, a CV. They tend to take a lot more.
Okay. Okay. I just have one more question. When I do send an application, right? When I write to them, the cover letter would basically include just the basic summary of who am I, what are my skills, what I'm capable of, and what I'm able to do, how I'm able to contribute to the program. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. You need to include a one-page personal statement or a letter of intent. It goes by various names. So essentially, yes, you're kind of right. You need to write a story as to why you want a position in their hospital for that particular path. What are the values or what are the uniqueness you bring in, and what are the things that actually the hospital can offer you? And you could bring the spin of the war as well as to how it kind of altered your life and made your life more miserable than otherwise, because you were, I think, pretty much settled in Russia, right? You had no intentions to move to the States if not for the war. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so you can bring that emotional component into your letter as well. So that gives significance to people when they read it through. Is that making sense?
Yes, yes, it does make sense.
I always say include your profile picture as well. So that way people, when they look at your email, they get a visual as to how this person looks. So take off your picture from your CV, but rather include a separate picture, an attachment with the email that you send.
I think everything is clear for me. Which direction I should go. That would be all the questions I have. Thank you very much for your time.
It's my pleasure. And one more thing, hang on. There are certain programs in the US that actually has collaboration with Botswana. You know that,
Yes,
right?
yes. I actually worked at Princess Marina Hospital, which is the main hospital in Botswana. And at the Princess Marina Hospital, we have a that's funded by the United States government, and we have a whole department. The university itself has a couple of American trained doctors who are working there. So I am aware about it. Recently, before I actually came to the United States, we had a campaign, a pediatric campaign. The government of Botswana brought in surgeons and other medical professionals to come and operate. And I did get a chance to meet a couple of doctors. I'm not sure from which state they came from, but American trained doctors.
Okay. Well, one other hospital I can think of you can apply is because it does have a collaboration with the University of Botswana.
I'll do that. I'll look at
Yeah.
the web.
And then make sure you highlight not only your water situation but also your relation with the University of Botswana because they look at it very positively.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
I hope the things we talked with Dr. Nate is going to help you in your journey as an IMG. If you need to talk to me, you can always book an appointment at www.imgsecrets.com. We won't be on any social media unless you specifically want it to be on it. Otherwise, everything stays private. I will create a personalized plan with you, and then your chances of being successful will get higher and not waste time and money trying to figure out what exactly you should be doing. Is this making sense? Scientific studies have shown that IMGs who take mentoring and coaching are more likely to be successful than IMGs who don't have access to such things. The next video I recommend you watch is how you can move as an IMG directly into the USA and just spend 2 years of supervised training in the state of Tennessee and get a full license to be a consultant. Any questions? Post in the comments below. I try to get back to you as soon as possible. Take care, stay safe. I will talk to you soon.